What's up, Digidestins? This is Kyle D, better known as Ridemyavatar, and we're going to go over my national run today, and with my deck profile as well. So I'm going to go over what I took, and that was D-Brigade. And the reason I took this deck was because I felt so confident against the bond matchup D-Brigade had that it didn't struggle as much. The only decks it really struggles against is any deck that can recover more than it wants. And that meaning is if they are recovering twice as much a turn, then you can produce damage. D-Brigade really struggles against security control and Lilith Loop because Lilith Loop doesn't care. It loops out, and if you can't beat them a turn before their loop, that's the issue. And they kind of play in the champion range. So I took it knowing that Bond's matchups weren't a problem, and Jesmon was always a turn a little bit too slow as long as you could remove threats. So guys, let's go over the deck list and let's talk about it. So guys, let's go over this beautiful deck list, right? My national running D-Brigade. Yes, I didn't top with it, but you know what? It still brought me a lot of joy, and it was a really good choice and pick. So first off, we have the Digitamas. First off, 4 Pagumon and 1 Tsumimon. Why you might be asking about Tsumimon is to help get around Mechanorimons. They are a very problem card, and if we have enough D-Brigades out there, we can easily get over, especially with the 5k Commandramon. This thing will swing for 7, and now that Mechanori is not killing off all our Digimon, or we can guarantee at least it dying and trading with our Digimon sometimes. Next, let's talk about it. We have Pagu. Pagumon, I love this card even more. So this card, reveal the top card of your deck, add it to hand if it's a black Digimon card. Otherwise, place it at the bottom of your deck. So most of the times, yes, it's weird. Either depending on how I'm feeling, or if I know what Izzy gave me, or if it's just the Commandramon lines, I know which cards to try to draw, draw. So depending on situation, just how it goes. Sometimes when it's early game, best to use Pagumon skill, then proceed to the Commandramon. But sometimes it's just good all around to, you can choose what you feel comfortable with. Make the judgment call based on what is your hand looking like and everything like that. So next, let's talk about it. The main bread and butter of the deck, the Commandramon right here. This card, oh man, I love this card. So is on deletion, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. You may play 1 Commandramon among them without paying its memory cost. Place the remaining cards at the bottom of the deck in any order. Being able to place them in the bottom of the deck in any order is not terrible, but being able to have a 1-for-1 trade, especially when you swing in. But this card, I'm not even kidding you, survived way too many rounds. Too many times I needed to swing and it just die, and it would hit tamers and stuff like that. It upsetted me. But I still I have a love-hate relationship with this card. But it's one of the best D-Brigades you'll have. Next, let's talk about it. We have Blocker Commandramon. Blocker Commandramon is another name, of course. It's D-Brigade and Cyborg. And what's really nice is if, let's say, this Commandramon dies on your turn, and you see this one, and it's going to be going to their turn, then you just play the blocker, set yourself up, and you kind of are really golden and square. Most players don't see the benefit in having a blocker that comes out from the deck. So I love having the surprise Commandramon. Then we have the 5k 4-cost Commandramon. Of course, you can't have a deck without this baby. This card is 5,000 DP, becomes 7,000 DP, and it's most likely is just there, just to swing in, get the game, and just survive long enough for you. So the more times he swings in, the better off you are. So keep that in mind. You want to just keep him alive. So 5k is really good. Then we have the 2-drop. This is your choker. Basically, straight up, if your opponent is going first, usually you want to go second with this deck, and they choke you to 1, congratulations, just slam this down, choke them back, and they're having a bad time. Unless they give you 2 and then you just go for a 3-drop and make them have a bad time. That's really the end goal of that. Next, let's talk about it. This card, oh my goodness, how good this is. Basically, Desires. If you know Yu-Gi-Oh, this card really puts in the work and effort. You may trash one Digimon card with Machine or Cyborg in its traits in your hand, draw 2. This card usually helps unbrick your hands and fixes a lot of issues that might be in your early game. So allowing you to draw 2, especially just tossing a Commandramon right out, go for it. I say it's never a bad play to play the Hurguramon right down, especially worst case scenario, you Digivolve it into a Sealdramon or Mechanorimon. One of those 2 will help you out in the end game. Then we have Dracmon. Dracmon here, I love it still. I play it at 2 because reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 Digimon card with Drawmon in its name among them to your hand, place the remaining cards at the bottom of the deck in any order. So digging deeper, sometimes the draw isn't strong enough, and sometimes you just need to start pushing things to the bottom of the deck, not worth the value of playing it. Then we have Mechanori in the champion slot. I'm on a love-hate relationship with this card. I think Shademon could do the same job as this card, but it also delays the Bonds deck so extensively because they're not going to swing into a Mechanorimon. They can't afford to lose their Digimon, so a Mechanorimon holds them at bay for a little bit, and that's just what he's in there for. I might move him to Shademon. I haven't done enough testing, but maybe another surprise Digimon might help out in this deck. And I feel like that might be the Shademon needed. I don't think Nanimon would put in there because I'd rather have a blocker that comes out of security just to survive us that one last push turn that they might have, especially if they're going into the Bonds against the Bonds matchup. Mechanori surprise into, well, a Mechanori in security sucks, but a Shademon in security against the Bonds decks means you survive one more swing, and it might push to your turn to get you that game win. So that's kind of how you have to make the call on that. I don't like Nanimon. Yes, it can swing in, but Mechanori is still great. Cordramon here to help Digivolve on top of your Dracmon, but also because on play, trigger draw 2. If its surprise comes out in the security, maybe kill something for 5k, and then boom, draw 2. Really not terrible, and I'm excited for that. So Cordramon is just our bread and butter and baby. Then we have Geogramon. I'm going to be quite honest with you. I don't hate this card. I don't dislike this card, but it's like that weird in between, to be honest with you. It's great when it pops in security. It'll kill off basically the Sistermon Blancs. And I cannot tell you right now how amazing it was to watch Sistermon Blanc die twice to a double Geogramon, and then they don't have their blocker on board. So Geogramon's really good when he pops off in security. In hand, he's like, he'll hit something maybe. So it's like you want him in security, but you don't want to play more of him. So it's like, I don't know if I want to keep Geogramon, but he came in clutch a lot, being able to pop weaker Digimon, especially when he showed up in security. When he was in hand, I would just use him as discard fodder for certain cards. So next, this is an amazing tech. I gotta say, this card answered so many problem cards when I was playing. So you may trash one card from your hand, delete one of your opponent's level 4 Digimon or lower. Being able to trash a Commandramon from your hand to fuel your Darkramon and then pop something really is good, because it'll kill a Mechanorimon, kill a blocker, kill off the Octoramon or whatnot in blue, that big beefy 7k that just you can't swing into to kill. So with the ability to pop it and get it off the board sooner is really good. I think this lineup of 6 really powerful Digimon in the level 4 category really does help up. So, and then we do have the Sealdramons. Sealdramon's really nice. It's a great blocker, and it's when attacking, lose 2 memory. I think that's really good. Being a blocker, sometimes just even hard casting it prevents your opponent. It's a 6,000 beat stick. It's on the power level of Makanori. And then your opponent has to answer it. I mean, other reason why I might play Shademon, Digivolves for 2. This costs 3. I'm like, eh. So it's like that hit or miss situation that I don't like. Next, let's go over the Megas. And we're going to talk about them. The card that loves to be the answer of end-all be-alls. This card, with Rush, return up to 5 Digimon with D-Brigade in their types from trash to the top of your deck in any order. For each card returned this way, gain 2 memory. Of course, you need to be at 3 for this to activate, but being able to swing in for that game swing that your opponent wasn't ready for sometimes really does help out, especially in the Bonds matchup. They self-detonate so easily, and being able to use your Darkdramon to swing in that final swing, especially if they give you 3, really does help out at the end of the day. Next, let's talk about it. Magnadramon. I was on the fence when I put this in. There are just sometimes in the matchup, it helps you survive a turn. And that gives you that turn that you need to win. And then in other matchups, it's just a dead card. And you're like, I really wanted this to be something else that could answer the issue. But it's like Magnadramon's at least 10k, so it's not going to be walked over very easily. So it's going to require a little more setup. So it's like, it's weird. I feel like, yes, at times when I did play it, it helped me a lot. And then there was times that it was just such a dead card in my hand that I wished it was something else. And it's like that weird back and forth. It's like, do I really need this card or do I not? And I'm like, it's like this card here. This card showed up more in my hand than I liked it to. Yes, it's quite beautiful. It's Omniman Zawart defeat. Play this card without battling or without paying its memory costs. And then when Digivolving, delete one of your opponent's Tamers, and on deletion, delete one of your opponent's Digimon. So, with the ability to delete one of your opponent's Digimon, especially when it dies, it's really good. It's really there just to pop off in security, but more 10 times out of 10, I'm going to be quite honest with you, the thing's in my hand. So I'm like, do I just go with the other Zawart, maybe spam out the board, maybe play a different lineup where it's just set up to clear board state, especially rookies and stuff like that. I might be able to get a win out of it. So I'm on the fence with it, to be honest with you. I want to test it without it and see if I really do miss it. At times, yes, I miss it because popping the Tamer is huge, especially popping the right Tamer at the right time could win you the game. But at the other times, it's just, I don't know. I might try at a lower level, maybe see from there, but we're going to have to see. Next, the end-all be-alls, Iron Fist Onslaught. Woo! I cannot express how much I love this card. So delete all your opponent's Digimon with the highest play cost. Iron Fist Onslaught, activation, main effect. I might take this out and bring out the other option to 4 again, because I love Iron Fist Onslaught, but at times, this card was more needed. I didn't want to see Iron Fist Onslaught in certain matchups. I wanted to clear a board, especially with Ultimate Flare. So being able to Digivolve 3 and one of your opponent's Digimon, then delete all your opponent's Digimon with a play cost 3 or less. Woo! Clear it out. Boom. They're really struggling, especially when this pops off in security against the Bonds matchups. Digivolve, bye! Ain't worth nothing for them, especially when they're trying to build wide, especially when you put down the Makanori, then they have to swing in. How many times in my matches you see it? Ultimate Flare or Iron Fist Onslaught comes in so clutch. Jessamon matchup clears it out. Boom. They don't have rookies anymore. They have to build up again, and that shuts them down really hard. And then let's talk about the Tamers. We have one Izzy, Izzy is great because if revealed in security, congratulations, pops off. Reveal the top 3, sets your opponent back to 1. It's if it's on their turn and you had all black Digimon. I cannot express how much I loved when it did that. And then my opponent just was screwed in every sense of the way. Word. And then we have Izzy Joe. This card, I like it, but I don't. You know what I mean? So if your opponent has 2 or more Digimon, gain 2 memory. I hate playing tamers. I've said this many times. I feel too slow playing a tamer. They are beneficial when they come off in security, but outside of that, they are just not worth it sometimes. And to be honest with you, I wish it was something else sometimes. So let's go over the rankings. Is that pop scoreboard? I got 6 out of 3, so that wasn't the best, but it made the top 128. I should. Next, first game was Jessmon. I 2-0'd it. They bricked hard. Gabubons took me out, sadly. It was a close game, though. If you watch the stream, are watching the stream, got a great game. Congratulations, dude. You did really well. Gabubons, again, a 2-1 record. I mean, I just had answers. They didn't. It just came down to it. They bricked, I think, last game. It was a complete brick fest, and I felt bad for him. Then we had the Agubons player. Oh, wow. We were close. We were very close in that game. It was coming down to the wire resource-wise. And just well-timed options going off. And that's how I won. I didn't actually even lose to the normal stuff. I actually lost because of Skull Greymon and Greymon hitting me more than they actually went into bonds. That was just how that went. And also with the analog boys, it was crazy. Then we had Gabubons yet again. And same thing. We just took it house. Then Jessmon took me down. That was my second loss. My mistake after I did some stuff and it wasn't always the best. So, you know, I swung in with Darktramon when I shouldn't have into his Jessmon, forgetting that he had Seal on board. And I had Tunnel Vision. It cost me that game. If I didn't have Tunnel Vision, I would have won it. Then we fought Lord Nightmon, a deck that this deck really struggles against, surprisingly. And that's just because they have removal plus the recovery aspect, where other decks just don't. They usually self-suicide, especially a lot of the Bonds matchups. That recovery is huge against us, and it long outs the game where we don't have enough recovery sometimes. So then Pepsi Bonds, that was scary. Let's be honest. I was shaking after that one because it was just such a close game. I really did enjoy all these matchups. Then we faced Gabubons. She was a great player. It just didn't fall in the cards for her. I mean, great games, everybody. You did well. And guys, remember, like, comment, subscribe on the video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace!